Hey guys, Marsing in here, bringing you another Dragon Ball Z Dokkan battle video. And so today we're going to be taking a look at STR Rose, who has his EZA now on Global. This is a unit that I was super looking forward to getting his EZA. And obviously after seeing the reception and some of the initial showcases on JP, he's in a bit of a weird spot because of some of the choices that they made with his kit. Not only to mention the fact that, as we talked about recently, we've done videos on Goku Black units, right? We've had the AGL Goku Black that released as the side banning unit for Vegeta and Trunks. We had the STR Goku Black that awakened from the latest World Tournament. And I said the same things in their videos as well, is these units are very much let down by the fact that they don't currently have really good meta-relevant partners, and they don't have a 200% team. So, unfortunately, we can't really see what these units are going to be like at their full potential, because this Rose, he's definitely not a slot 1 unit, right? So if we get a new Zamasu or a new base Goku Black that transforms, or an EZA for the Int one, or for like AGL Zamasu, something like that gives him a slot 1 partner, or we get a new one so we get a 200% leader, then I feel like we're going to see a pretty significant change for this guy, right? So let's start off by looking what he does. He greatly raises defense for 1 turn. So again, not a slot 1 unit, right? Does immense damage to the enemy, raises extreme class allies attack by 30% for 1 turn. So I guess it's interesting because raising allies attack is a useful ability to have if you are a slot 1 unit. But it does mean it is going to benefit the units that's in slot 3, if you're running him in slot 2 at least. And he gets 150% attack and defense. He gives extreme class allies 3 key and 50% defense. And then he gets an additional attack 50%, gives an additional attack 50% to Realm of Gods extreme allies. He gives super class enemies attack and defense minus 30%, so definitely useful for Super Battle Road. Then he gets an additional attack and defense 50% and attacks effective against all types for the rest of the battle after delivering the final blow. So this is the thing that basically makes or breaks this Rose, because when you take him against some of the tougher bosses in the red zone, if you don't get him to deliver the finishing blow in one of the phases before you reach the end, then he's obviously not going to be at his full potential, and he just, honestly, from what I've seen, doesn't look that great until you get that finishing blow. Now, the problem with that is it then often becomes a weird sort of dance where you're trying to get him to get the finishing blow, and you're either like just missing out on it, or you get stuck in a weird loop where he's always on rotation when you start a phase and the enemy has tons of HP. So, on this rotation, for example, if I did this, which would obviously be the smart way to run the team or run the rotation, then obviously Trunks and Vegeta are going to kill here. So ideally I do want to get this buff as early as possible, so I'm going to go ahead and throw up a Whis here. We have every single link active except for Super Saiyan with this Goku Black, who's also providing 40% support. So at the start of the turn we have 245k defense. Now in some of the lesser events, like early on, I guess you could kind of get away with putting him in slot 1. But obviously 250k before he attacks is just not good enough for the actual difficult bosses. So I gave mine a mix of crit and additional. It's a fairly even mix because obviously best case scenario, he super attacks, crits, and then gets an additional super that, whether it's a crit or not, by that point you've then hopefully finished off the enemy. So let's see what happens here. I swear, if he leaves the enemy alive with like 1 HP and then the AGL Goku Black finishes him off, I'm going to be very disappointed, because if we can get this right away at the start, that would obviously be really, really good. So 5.68. I feel like if he crits, he takes him out here, right? Come on, Rose. Let's give it to us right. Oh no, he got the additional. I think he has to crit, but come on, you can do it. Let's go. All right, so we get the full buff. So this is not something that obviously is going to happen every time you use him, but for the sake of the showcase, obviously it is very, very good that was the outcome that we got, because now we're going to be able to see him actually at his full potential. I've just realised as well, I should have floated, because I had to float off Vegeta and Trunks last turn. I really should have floated off the Vegeta on Trunks this rotation to actually get the rotations fixed. So that's going to be a little bit annoying. I might have to use the other Whis to kind of mitigate that, because we're going to end up having next turn we're going to end up having both the Vegeta and Trunkses together, And then... Is that going to be... Oh, no, that will be turn 5. So the other one will still have their guard. Even if we put them in the last slot. But I might use the Whis just in case, right? To make sure. Because I don't want... I don't want the Vegeta and Trunks in slot 3 to die and end the showcase early. But yeah, so we managed to position ourselves quite nicely there to get the finishing blow with Rose in the first phase. That is really, really good for the sake of the showcase. Now, as I say, unfortunately, when you go up against, like say you go up against Red Zone Broly, you don't really want to be using a Whis in like the first phase. So if we had a similar situation, essentially you would just kind of have to risk putting Rose in slot 1. I guess if we had that exact rotation, you could probably risk putting AGL Goku Black in slot 1 because of the type advantage. And because he doesn't really do that much damage, he's probably not going to finish him off. But you run the risk that he does, especially if he gets like an additional super and he gets crits. So it can be very risky early on to play this game where you're trying to get these transformations and everything with... trying to get the finishing blow with Rose. So now we have double support, and as you can see at the start of the turn we have almost 400k defense. So remember, he greatly raises on super, which is 50%. So when we super attack here, we will be what, almost, because we're almost at 400k, so we'll essentially be almost at 600. So he's going to be over 500k. I think he still is like over 550 right now. We are double supported on this rotation because this Goku Black gives 40% attack and 20% defense to Rose, and then obviously the AGL one gives 40%, but that is pretty decent considering, again, his main role is that he's going to be a slot 1 unit that you usually would expect him to be taking hits after he super attacks. So that's definitely not too bad. And let me see, what does his attack stat get up to here? I would imagine this would be pretty good, right? Yeah, 9.5. I mean, he's double supported because the STR Goku Black, whilst he's not giving as much defense, he's giving 40% attack. So this guy had every single link except for Super Saiyan, including Big Bad Bosses, which is obviously very important for these units to have that link active. So let's see. I think what we do here for the sake of... wait, who was the one that was on rotation first? I have to assume it's the one that is more built up, right? So that means my one should still have the guard. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to use their active skill, because obviously that gives everyone a defensive buff.
We did it, Trunks.
And then that should leave us in a good spot now to survive the turn, right? Although if they don't have their guard active, that would be super awkward, but... Because I don't want to use the Whis here. Although actually I guess this will take us up to the point where, because Rose is going to be on the next rotation. We do have Carnival Goku to use as a slot 1 unit though. But you know what? I'm not going to risk it. With annoyingly, with the red zone being 3 attempts per day, it's just one of those things where if I risk it and, like, you know, we didn't have our guard active in slot 3 and we eat a super and we die, that's another one of the attempts for today gone. So I'd rather just throw up the Whis here, and next turn we're going to be able to put Carnival Goku in slot 1, which means that Rose is going to get Super Saiyan active, which means he will have all of his links active in the next turn, as well as the 40% support from the AGL Goku Black. So that's going to be a much more realistic turn for him, for us to see what he's capable of. Hopefully we do finish off Oceanus this turn though, because... otherwise, that puts us in the awkward position where if I put Carnival Goku in slot 1, it's pretty much guaranteed that he's going to finish her off if we don't finish her off this turn. So Future Gohan getting the additional super is definitely hugely beneficial here. Although, still not really that much damage. But she's got a lot of HP left, unfortunately. So we're counting on the Trunks and Vegeta in slot 3. They are Rainbow, the friend, so... let's see if they can come in clutch here. Maybe get some crits, get those additional supers. That's what we need to see. They're not going to, are they? Come on, additional super? Oh, bruh. Alright, well that's paying us back for getting that good luck right at the beginning. Because if I do this, then obviously we will get screwed over. But we have the Whis active. I did use it, yeah. So I guess I don't really need to worry about him being in slot 1. Just means we have to wait to see him on the turn with all of his links active. So with only the 1 support unit, he does still have 370k. So that means he's getting what, 150, 100, like 195-ish. So basically 200k, right? So that puts him at about 560 after he super attacks, which is pretty good. Now, obviously, when it comes to how good that actually is, 500k defense, like raw, with no damage reduction or guard or anything like that, obviously that's not enough when it comes to red zone bosses in terms of, like, you know, surviving a super attack, right? Like, he's going to get one shot by most of these big red zone bosses. But I think one of the ways we have to look at this STR Rose, especially when we do get these future buffs with like a new Zamasu and things like that, is that this STR Rose is essentially going to fulfill the role of being a floating support unit, right? Because obviously he does have that ability on his super attack where he gives support, but it's not like he really, you know, it's not like we need that, right? He's giving everyone defense. He's giving the extreme Realm of Gods allies attack as well. So obviously, you know, when we do get, let's say it's a merged Zamasu, or I guess maybe base Zamasu, because we just got an LR mode Zamasu. I don't know how they're going to do these things, right? But say we get a new Zamasu that is a 200% leader for all the Zamasu and the Goku Black units. This guy can float in slot 3. Now, early on in the fight, you probably are going to want to move him around to try and get that finishing blow as early as possible. But then once you do, him floating in slot 3, because again, remember, he's getting up to this like 500 odd K defense on this team, but this is him under a 170 lead. So when he's under double, like 200% leads, and obviously with the team being largely comprised of Goku Black and Rose units, he's going to have those important links like big bad bosses and stuff like that active in even while he's in slot 3. So he's going to be looking really, really good. So this is the turn. I finally got the setup the way I wanted it to. Here we are on turn 8. But we have every single link active, including Super Saiyan, which doesn't give any extra defense. He's at 368 still. Pretty good. Goku, yeah, Vegeta and Trunks are not going to be able to finish him off here. Now, if I go ahead and do the active skill here, because we'll do a bit of damage. We're not going to do, like, insane damage. Oh, wow, we actually... Oh, of course we are, because we get guaranteed crits on this turn. Oh, they're going to kill him now, aren't they? God damn it. I wanted to see the defense buff. So the defense buff, he's up to 441k, which means after supering, he's going to be at like 660k defense, which is really, really good for this turn. But obviously we are not going to get to see him attack now. I guess we could put him here. So without big bad bosses, that makes a very big difference, right? So with the buff, see, he's dropped below what his the support from the support member, the active skill was, which shouldn't be surprising, right? Obviously, because it's, you know, big bad bosses, 25% extra attack and defense at all times. Very, very good link for these extreme units. So we'll put him in slot 1 just to see what he does here. Obviously, Vegeta and Trunks don't give any attack bonus with that active skill. It's only defense. So he's still rocking a 7.2 million attack stat, which means, I guess, you could. There is the potential that you could run him on extreme teams. You know, as long as you're getting, like, especially with some of the extreme Saiyan units, because as long as you're getting things like prepared for battle, so he gets some ki, although he gives 3 ki from his passive, so he's pretty self-sufficient in that regard as well. He's still providing all the extreme allies with defense, even though they're not Realm of Gods allies. It's only the attack that they don't get, right? So on a lot of these teams, as long as you're trying to make sure that he gets links like big bad bosses, prepared for battle, Super Saiyan, right, with some of the Broly units and stuff like that, then obviously he can still look pretty decent. Big bad bosses, as we saw on that previous turn, makes a pretty significant difference when you don't have that active. But when you do, he definitely can look pretty good. Because again, as I said, I should stress, like, this is a double 170 lead team for him. And obviously the game now, especially with like the content that's coming out, we are firmly in the 200% meta. So obviously this guy may seem a little bit underwhelming. Like, on his best turn that we saw in this video, him getting almost a 10 million attack stat is pretty good. It was with the double support, so it's not really the most realistic rotation for like a difficult stage. But yeah, almost a 10 million attack stat is pretty good. And getting up to over 500k defense, again, I think these are pretty good numbers for only being on a 170 lead. So once we get him onto an actual 200% lead, especially if that new unit is in the way that they've often done these Goku Black units, if that team gets, you know, extra units that are giving each other support, then the chances are, like, he's easily going to be over 10 million attack and have incredibly high defense, as long as you are able to get that finishing blow early on, which is going to be very, very important. So we were very lucky to get it in this showcase. So finally we get exactly what I wanted, him in the middle with every link active. We have 346k, because remember, STR Goku Black doesn't give as much defensive support as the AGL one, but that still puts him at basically 500k defense after supering. So pretty solid overall. You guys let me know what you think down below. STR Rose was one of my favourite TURs in the game when he came out, just because, like, his EZA is obviously compounded on all of the stuff that he already did before, but the fact that he provides all that support, including the key, which was really good for teams back then when you were making these extreme teams that were kind of a mishmash of units with different links. He just does so much, right? So he's supporting the team, he's got decent defense after supering, he's putting out decent attack stats. I mean, look at this, double 9 million attack stat turn, greatly raising on both supers, which means he's over 600k defense on this turn, potentially even 700. So pretty good, right? Like, if you get the additional super with him, I could see the argument, especially if you're running him as a slot 3 unit, for just giving him tons of additional, because even if you're not able to get the finishing blow, him getting a double super is obviously going to massively increase his survivability, right, in these harder events. So let me know what you guys think of STR Rose. I think he's pretty good. I'm very excited to see when he does actually get a 200% team. I think he could definitely be impressive. We'll try taking him into some of the harder events, but in terms of the initial showcase, I do think that he is pretty solid. So let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. So that is going to be it for the video, guys. This has been the Masked Ningen. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Check out the links down below for the Discord and the merch store, and I will see you all again soon. Have a good one.